Hello this is the AnYPony and welcome to my top 5 yay and nay list for Equestria Girls. A top 5 yay and nay list about a current controversial topic. In other words, every pony will hate me afterwards. Fanboys for my nays, haters for my yays. Can't wait for the comments from both sides explaining me why I am wrong. By the way, spoilers! But, well, I guess you are aware of it, so let's start. And believe it or not, one of the really big issues only made it to number 5. Fans of the movie, please hear me out first and stay with me at least until my number 5 yay before stopping the video. But the movie is by objective standards not a good movie. That does not deny AnYPony from liking and enjoying this movie, but still I cannot ignore that the movie is flawed as hell. I could easily make up a whole top 10 list of things wrong with Equestria Girls, and I am pretty sure some pony will do this sooner or later if it hasn't already happened. But I don't see the reason in beating on a movie in great detail for something that can be summed up in one word. The premise. Making it a high school movie is basically the root of most aspects wrong. In Equestria, the main 6 have been fully realized adult members of society. Now they are just a bunch of teenagers at high school. I see why. Turning them into hard-working human adults does not really appeal to the target demographic. Only in the fantasy setup of the series could the main 6 live adult lives without alienating the young female viewers. I could go on about this topic, talk about popularity as a main drive, about the endless shenanigans of getting used to the human body, about how the princesses do not work as principals, about the out-of-nowhere last-minute redemption, all the controversies, plot holes, and so on. But I simply do not feel like it. You wanna know why? Number 5. Yay. The overall entertainment. I have heard so many people who were not able to enjoy the movie because of its flaws, but to be honest, I am not one of them. I already rewatched it and still have not been bored or repulsed. The movie may not be good, but it is entertaining, especially for fans of the series. Many of the jokes, in particular involving Pinkie Pie, all those cameos, the upbeat music, the lightheartedness. It was simply a nice experience. Guilty pleasure material if you ask me. Number 4. Neigh! The music. Yes, I know, I just stated 10 seconds ago that the music was part of what made the movie entertaining. But sadly, being entertaining does not save it from being disappointing. Some people complain that the songs in Magic and Mystery Cure were generic and sounding alike, an argument I disagree with strongly. But for the music in Equestria Girls... Daniel Ingram, buddy, really? It's not like the music was bad. I caught myself humming the cafeteria tune the day after watching the movie, but it is not even close to the standard we are used to from the show. And I actually cannot tell how many songs are in this movie and how to tell them apart, because they are all just ordinary pop songs. Number 4. Yay! Twilight struggles with a new situation. We are very shortly after the events of Magic and Mystery Cure. Twilight just got her hair fixed again and has still not completely adjusted herself to either her status as a princess nor her new wings. I really do like the side note. It disproves the general worries that her ascent turned her into a Mary Sue character, and it shows that DHX acknowledged the potential of stories about Twilight getting used to the changes. At least I hope that is the case. Especially after my number 1 nay for Magic and Mystery Cure, a lot of viewers probably expected me to rejoice at the fact that Twilight has apparently not learned flying yet, but I'm still a bit skeptical about that. It seems to me that canon-wise the purpose of this movie was to show how Twilight gets comfortable with her role as a princess. And right before her return to Equestria, she also remarks that getting used to her wings is nothing compared to getting used to being a human. That might mean nothing, but it could also be taken as an excuse to let her be able to fly as soon as season 4 starts. Only time can tell, but I stay rather cautious, and that is also why this only became my number 4 yay. Number 3. Neigh! The art style. I know that this is a rather subjective matter, and if you like the looks of the movies, that's fine, and I don't intend to change that. That said, what do I not like about the design? Well, the uniform miniskirt look for starters. Willy, even Rainbow and AJ. Then the stick figure body structure, because girls cannot be young enough to learn that only anorexia is beautiful. And that awkward backwards leaning while walking. Shouldn't they fall over this way? There are so many awesome looking humanized art styles on DeviantArt, even based on the Equestria Girls look. Why couldn't it have been more like that? But while we are on the subject of the movie's visuals, number 3.
Yay!
The animation. I mean, they had basically to start all over because all their models and movements they created for the show were pretty much worthless for the larger part of the movie. And except for some too steady looking walk cycles, the animation was smooth, lively and rich in variation as hell. Just look at the actual dance moves during the cafeteria song. Not bad, DHX. Not bad at all. Number 2.
Neigh!
The villains. Yes, plural. Because I have not only complaints about Sunset Shimmer, but in fact even bigger ones with Snips and Snades as her henchmen. But let's go over the former first. Sunset is a typical fall-flat villain. Great premise, lame execution. She is Celestia's former student, she seems to be a very competent unicorn, and she, well, wants to take over Equestria. Okay, the last one is rather generic, but overall she was oozing potential. But now we are back to the beginning of the list and the fact that the high school setting handicapped the whole story from the get-go. But this is no excuse for what the writers did with Snips and Snades. Yes, they were never bright, they had a tendency to worshipping and following individuals they were impressed by. And I myself had a lot of nasty things to say about them in my 6th Ass video. But they did not deserve that. Evil henchmen? No, they had never been evil. They had never even been bullies. All the havoc they caused in the series was due to their stupidity, but in the end they always meant well. When did they become mean, party-wrecking villains? But at the same time, their clumsiness is still used for comic relief, what makes them, and by implication Sunset Shimmer, look even more pathetic as villains. My guess is they were supposed to work as pain and panic in Disney's Hercules, but that failed horribly. But now for something I really, honestly and without any constraint liked. Number 2.
Yay!
The introduction of the human remain 5. I recently complained about the stage-by-stage character the series uses every so often when each of Twilight's friends has to get a bit of screen time within one episode, like in the pilot episodes, the Ticketmaster or Magical Mystery Cure for example, repeating the very same pattern 5 times in a row. In Equestria Girls, all the introductions are different. Twilight runs into Fluttershy by coincidence. Nice reference to the original meeting, by the way. Pinky's and AJ's introductions overlap. Rarity already knows about Twilight and seeks her out on purpose and only appears on day 2. And finally, Rainbow Day's first appearance is from the distance, showing her interact with Applejack first. Even though Twilight still gets to meet one of her friends after another, the flow of events feels far more natural and is done with more diversity. Good job there. But now for the moment of shame. Not only for the movie, but for me personally as well. Beware the number 1.
Neigh!
The romantic side plot. I really feel awful now for asking for canon shipping so often and so loudly. This was not what I had in mind. If this is the best writers can do, please spare the viewers and especially our beloved main characters that misery. Okay, maybe I should elaborate a bit. First, Brad, or as he is called within the movie, Flash Sentry. He is such a Marty stew, or even more precisely, a romantic stew. What that is, you might ask? Well, let's check out movie tropes, shall we? He is a primary example of a relationship stew. This sort of Marty stew is much tamer than the macho stew, and is much more interested in the love interest. Let me add, for no reason at all, except that she keeps literally bumping into him. In fact, he's more intuitive to the needs of his beloved than man in real life would ever be. He might be a bad boy or troubled. Damn straight he is! guess he is into rock music. But cute, or this may be just an informed attribute. Either way, he's everything a girl would dream of in a guy. Cool, good looking, plays guitar, stands up for his girl, is a hero that saves the day, admires her, and previously ditched the mean girl. Nah, what girl would like that? He is often written by a female. Run, Megan, they are on to you! Or written to get females interested in the story. Well, in this case, rather to get the adult male fans uninterested. So, the love interest is, allow me to quote the Urban Dictionary, so perfect that he is nauseating. But the part Twilight plays in this romance is barely less degrading. All she does is bumping into him over and over again in this cliché, embarrassing herself, but he reacts cool and charming anyways manner. And then she blushes like a teenage girl. Ha ha ha. Again, bucks this feathering high school setup to Tartarus. But to be honest, she does the same thing in Equestria, so yeah, you could think she never ran into a stallion before. I mean, it is not like she spends a larger part of her life in Canterlot Castle, the one place in Equestria where more stallions than males live thanks to the Royal Guard. Seriously, the only explanation I can come up with why she is suddenly so responsive to a male and develops this teenage crush attitude during the events of Equestria Girls, she is simply in heat. That's probably the reason why there are usually no episodes released during this time of the year. All My Little Ponies are a bit less family friendly. Okay, joking apart. When I asked for canon shipping, I had subtle, well-developed relationships with characters as deep and interesting as the main six themselves in mind. Not a superficial, contrived, unconvincing teenager love story. If this uninspired romance for the sake of romance is the only form of shipping MLP is up to, please don't do it at all, ever again. Now, from something that turned out horrible as expected to something that seemed equally unpromising, but turned out to be my highlight of the movie. Number 1. Spike the dog. Wow, he was in top form. Smart, snarky, helpful, understanding, focused, funny. He hasn't been this awesome since lesson 0. And you wanna know what is so crazy about it? He is a dog, a freaking puppy. He got degraded to a pet and still outshined each and every other character in the movie. My only real complaint at this point, Spike episodes will be even more painful to watch from now. Maybe if Megan McCarthy writes it? After all, she wrote some really good episodes in season 1 and 2. Anyways, that was my opinion on Equestria Girls. This is the AnYPony saying see you soon.
On this journey and quest of mine, I'll find a way to get it with much less time. What do I do and where do I start on my journey to discover my cue?